And that mutual friend said, you know, you two are weird. You should talk to each other.
Welcome to another edition of Chewing the Fat. I'm your host, Big Rob. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for your support on Instagram. Checking out the website at chewingthefatbr.com. All of the listens, all of the likes, the ratings, the reviews. I really appreciate that. All the folks who have bought coffee for me to help support the podcast. Thank you so much. Today is a very special episode for me because I'm recording this with someone I literally have known his entire life. Actually, before he even knew he had a life, I've known him. My son, Jacob Smith, is joining me today. Hey, Jacob.
Hey, Dad. So, how you doing?
Well, today's an interesting day for me. So, as it is an interesting day for you as well. So that everyone knows, Jacob is packing his bags and heading off on the next great adventure of his life, moving to Cornwall, England, to marry his fiancée, Holly. They've been together for about 3 years, and to go start his life over in England. So there's lots of questions about that. So how did this happen?
Well, I mean, with anyone, they always ask, they're like, how did you two meet? Well, clearly we met online. We have a mutual friend, a couple of mutual friends. And this was back in, 2017, 2018, when we first met each other. And we were in a Discord call. And she was in the process of fully getting divorced with her ex-husband. I had been single for a really long time, which is shocking for me because, I mean, I'm as handsome as you, Right. And, we got to know each other a little bit. And after a while, my friends knew I was looking to try and find someone because I was single. And that mutual friend said, you two are weird. You should talk to each other. And I mean, you get it honest from your friends,
Yeah.
They tell it how it is. And sure enough, Ollie and I, we're a little strange, but it's because we both love video games. We love anime, we have a lot of mutual things in common. And, honestly, originally when I was trying to talk to Holly, she didn't believe me because the same mutual friend, when we first ever met each other, they were like, don't worry about Jake. He's like this. Because I had gotten to a point where I would just be flirtatious with anyone just to, throwing all the lines out or whatever to see whatever caught. And so she didn't believe I was fully interested in her. But, when you find someone that you really click with, you pursue them and you're persistent, and that's what I did. And, sure enough, we were talking privately one night and I was like, I really do like you. Let's make this a thing. Let's, whatever. And instead of saying, yeah, I like you too, she goes, we'll talk. And so we talked,
Yeah.
And 3.5 years later, here we are, moving in, and definitely pursuing a long-term life together.
Yeah. And I mean, I know you had plans last year for like an official engagement and everything like that.
Yeah. I had a flight back in March 2020, and for anyone who...
Did anything happen in March of 2020?
I think everyone locked down, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
And, during that time, it was very stressful. I was, had paid for the ticket, and I'd planned everything. I had in my head, I was like, there was a specific restaurant that we had went to when we were in London the last time I had visited, and it was this really fancy French restaurant. And what was funny, it was when we went there, it was a very last minute put in the reservation, and I'm glad that I did that because otherwise we wouldn't have gotten in. There was no wait list. It was just like you either have a reservation or no. And and I had plans to take her out there and do a little romantic dinner and proposal, but COVID stopped that, and like everyone else, it was like, oh, it's just a 2-week quarantine, as we're, still in a half quarantine, almost 2 years in, 2 years in now.
Well, it's not 2 years. It's about
year and some.
Yeah. About 18 months or so. Sure.
That 2-year quarantine, or not 2-week quarantine, but, I waited and things just were not getting better. And, one night Holly and I, we were just having a nice, movie date online together. We'd boot up Netflix together, and then one of us would count off, so we'd both be watching at the same time, and and we were just having a really good time. And I was like, I gotta ask her, because I had the ring the entire time, and so I was like, I'm just gonna ask her. I'm like, look, I want to make this official between us, but I'm not there. I don't know when I'm going to be able to be there.
Right.
But let's make plans to move forward. And of course, she was like, yes, of course. I didn't mail the ring because I was worried it was going to get lost.
Right. I mean,
so even still, I have it, and I plan to give it to her whenever I get over there.
Don't forget to pack that.
No, it's packed.
Okay. Good.
It's packed.
Okay. Good.
But yeah, COVID definitely put a wrench into a lot of plans that we had. I think even originally when we first got engaged, we were like, yeah, March 2021. I think I had told you that, that was kind of the original plan of trying to have a wedding March 2021. Whether it was here in America or over there, we were still kind of up in the air about all of that. Right. But that didn't happen. But if anything, I can see a positive light out of COVID is that the fact that we got through it, being apart, originally before COVID, we'd only be apart physically from each other for like maybe 6 months. And that's a long time for a lot of people, but it's coming up to a year and a half now. Of course, we keep in constant contact with, FaceTime and messaging each other and everything like that. But, the positive thing that I find out of all of this is that our communication has become not, a cement foundation, but rather like hardened steel. We get each other, and we know how to talk to each other because of it.
So do you think that, just because, it's an online, connection that you guys made originally, and the technology playing such a big part in your relationship. I know with COVID, there were a lot of tools that came out to allow people to actually communicate even more fluidly. Things like you're talking about where you guys, count down and to watch a movie together. I think Netflix now has a feature where you can actually do a kind of a joint watch type thing where you just click a button and and you invite people and everybody watches at the same time. Advances like that. But having an online, not only online, but also long distance relationship.
5,000 miles.
Yeah. Is that something that you ever thought was going to happen as you were growing up? Was that in your mind of what your relationship and what you were looking for? Did it ever cross your mind?
No, I definitely didn't think I was going to, have an extremely long distance relationship with someone. I didn't think, I would be, dating someone from a different country. You can't really fully plan for things like this. You fall in love, and that happens on its own.
It's kind of one of those things the heart wants what the heart wants, and sometimes the heart doesn't know what it wants until it sees what it wants.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So it's definitely been an interesting journey, and I wouldn't really change. Would I not want COVID to happen? Yeah. Right. But where I am now, would I change anything? No. I'd even go through COVID again, to be with her.
Wow. would you have any advice for folks that may have, a long distance or an online, relationship that they're trying to make work? Like, what were the things that worked for you?
Communication, definitely. Forgiveness, even more. Because a lot of the time, a lot of our talking is in text form, and that doesn't have emotion behind it, and a lot of the times words can be misconstrued and misunderstood. So, you got to be careful with what you say and how you mean it. Even if in your head, you're like, I was just saying this plainly, know, they may not read it like that.
Right.
Because of the emotions they're feeling. And, if you're able to, if at very least have a phone call, so you can hear each other, or, we have FaceTime and Facebook video calls, Zooms, Skype, Discord has video, all that, that also helps even more, is to have those things available for you. 'Cause you see them and it's like, oh, you're a glass pane away, but at least then, you can build that foundation of, because long distance is hard, because it's like, how do I, there are a lot of people have different love languages, for me, I'm very much like one of my main ones is just words of affirmation. I like being praised for things. Even if it's like, I washed the dishes and good job, and it's like, yay. Whereas like Holly's, love language is very much more physical and just, like snuggles and hugs and stuff like that, and holding hands. And I know that she's missing a lot of that because of the long distance.
Right.
So, you have to try and find different ways of going through that, whether it be through cheesy romantic, haikus, poems and stuff like that, or even, hey, I'm making spaghetti tonight. Make you some spaghetti. Let's throw on Lady and the Tramp and watch the movie together. Cheesy things like that. Like, honestly, it sounds like it wouldn't work and help, nurture a lot of those random love languages that aren't being, given, but it does.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would assume that visual aspect, like you're saying, of being able to do a video call. I mean, the world was entirely engulfed in Zoom calls for work, but being able to actually see body language with someone, to read that body language, to hear the tone, as opposed to just reading the words flat on a page, probably make a big difference in how the relationship might be progressing or whatever. So yeah, that's definitely something that I think that a lot of people, again, just from COVID and work reasons, maybe that gives them encouragement to say, maybe they had like, oh well, this person looks cute, oh, but they're so far away, that a relationship can be nurtured and fostered from a long distance via a virtual type of video situation.
Well, if anything, I am a full testament of that being something that is very possible. I think a lot of people are more worried about how much time and effort it takes, because it's a lot easier for two people who live in the same town and go see each other on the weekends or every day, and you're physically there with each other. It's a lot easier to do that. And I think that's, something we as a society have definitely, like, that is the norm, is doing that. But with how small the world is becoming nowadays with technology and how connected we are, I think for those who are, they're either in or interested in a long distance relationship, it's not out of the realm of possibility. It just takes a little bit, a slower approach, a lot more time, a lot more effort. And sometimes it can be exhausting,
right?
Cause it's like you physically are just like, I just want to lay down and just watch TV, but I can't. I have to sit at my desk upright, cause that's where my computer is. That's where my camera is. and I wanted to watch TV with her or him or
Right.
them.
Right.
But I can't.
Mm-hmm.
So physically you're just tired, but you're like, but I have to work on this thing that I love.
Right. And it also is in your case specifically, there's a huge time difference as well.
Yep.
It's like what, 5 hours?
90% of the year is 5 hours. And then like there are 5% times in the year where they're 6 and then 4.
Okay. So let's just average around 5 hours difference. So if it's, you've worked all day, you're coming home at 11 o'clock at night. I mean, that's 4 a.m. Their time. And it's like, I really would like to talk to you, but it's 4 a.m. I don't want to wake you up in the middle of the night to be able to just say, hey. So having to have that extra, mindfulness, definitely, in your situation can be very, taxing too.
Oh, it definitely was. I mean, there was a lot of times where like I had considered waking up, extremely early, like 7 a.m, or even like 5 a.m, to just be able to say good morning. Let's get a croissant together virtually, or let's just sit together and talk and have coffee, but. And at the same time, like you said, coming home, I work in food and beverage as a bartender, those are late nights. I come home 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, sometimes even midnight. And so, that's 3, 4, 5 in the morning for her. And here's the thing with Holly that I've learned is that she doesn't care about sleeping. She loves sleeping. But when it came to our relationship, that was something she gave up. She valued the time that we had together, even if it was like hey, I'm just getting off work. I love you. I know you're about to pass right out after you hear me say goodnight, but I just want to call and say that to you. She would wake up and answer the phone anyway.
Yeah.
Or for me, I'd be asleep and my phone would buzz. Because, like something would go on and she just needed to hear me, even if I was just like, sleep talking. I would sacrifice that to again, fully nurture that relationship that we had.
Right. So you're talking about being a bartender. And so you're moving to Cornwall, England.
Yep.
What's the name of the village?
Plint.
Plint.
Pelynt.
Yep.
Plint.
Nope, that's not what that spells, but
it's Cornish spelling. So,
So, Cornwall, England, Plint. What are you taking? What aspirations are you taking other than relationship, other than Holly?
Right.
And also Holly's child, Vivi, little adorable child that, I've heard your interactions with her, via some of your talks and stuff, and you're very sweet with her. You're very, very nurturing, very caring for her. But, and we can talk about that more in just a minute. But what are you taking to Plint? What are you going to be? What's that aspiration? What's that dream you're still hanging on to pursue other than the relationship?
Well, I've, as of recent years, have gotten extremely into mixology and that creativity that you get from that. And I've been in food and beverage for a long time, and it also gives you that kind of happiness from serving someone and them enjoying the thing that you've given them. But it's more personal because that's mine and not like me going and getting a plate of food that the chef made and here you go, enjoy. So I'm excited because Cornwall, for one thing that I've looked into, it is kind of a central hub for ciders and gin, because Plymouth is within Cornwall, and Plymouth has its own distillery. And even for us over in here in America, we buy Plymouth gin. And I mean, England, it's known for G&Ts and Pim's cups and not watered down beer.
But you don't drink beer.
No. That's why I was excited about the cider parts. One of my trips that I went over there, I think it was one of the first times I went over there, her family, took us to the pub that they live next to, and it was actually really, it's not like a bar here where when you just say bar, it's just like kind of sketchy looking.
Okay.
It's actually a very relaxing place. It even has like games for kids to just mess around with, whatever. It was very family friendly and, clean and nice. I don't know if every pub is like that, but
the one you went to was. It made a good first impression.
Right.
Yeah.
But they had this, I think it was like a strawberry pomegranate cider. And that's kind of up my alley as far as like, if I were to have something that is close to a beer, it doesn't taste like beer.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, the plans are to hopefully get on somewhere doing mixology, being a bartender, working at a, maybe a country club or an establishment or an estate as a as a mixologist or something like that.
Or even, I've had a lot of members at the club that I work with. They're like, you should, do either TikTok or YouTube videos of you making cocktails and stuff like that. And maybe even offer classes. And, I also considered like if, finding, your 9 to 5 or, well, it would be 9 to 5, but you get what I'm saying, like a job doesn't really work out. Maybe I could try and freelance, be like, these are my rates as, your wedding bartender or your birthday party or whatever.
Right.
Because a bar is a bar is a bar, so it's just the mixologist and the talented person behind the bar that makes the drinks come out nice.
Right.
Yeah.
So what else are you taking with you? What other aspirations and what's one of the things you're looking, again, aside from the relationship, the marriage, the family part of this? What are you looking forward to? You're moving to an entire different country with different rules and regulations and government style and all of this other stuff, but it's also an ancient country, and you're so close to other places, so obviously like travel seems to be very easy, but what are you personally looking forward to doing?
I mean, like you said, travel is really easy over there. I'm really hoping that we'll be able to kind of make a stop over to Ireland. We have Irish descent, and I've always wanted to go over there.
Yes. Fun fact, little like, I want to say you were like maybe 4 or 5 years old. And I think we picked you up from school or something like that. And you're just kind of sitting in the back seat in the car seat, and it's like, and you're just kind of looking downtrodden, just kind of, it's like, what's wrong, buddy? And you're like, I just want to go home. And I'm like, well, we're on the way home, buddy. No, to Ireland. It's like, okay, buddy, you've never actually been there, but that's sweet. So yeah, it'd be cool for you to actually finally make it home. That
childhood dream is finally being realized.
To make it home.
Yeah. I mean, I think when I had told Holly about really wanting to go there, she was like, yeah, we just get on a quick ferry trip and boom, we're over in Ireland. And I'm like, yes. So it's very much still that fire inside of me of making it over there. But at the same time, her family makes like yearly like family vacations. They go to France a lot. They went to Italy 2 years ago before COVID. And there's, we can go to Germany or Sweden or, there's just Europe, it's just right there. And so the traveling aspect is definitely extremely exciting, especially for someone like me who up until dating Holly never left the country. So to be able to go to all of Europe right there in the palm of my hand is very exciting. But I'm a very friendly person. I'm open. I'm excited to just take in just all that I can here in this culturally rich, country, and just enjoy life, Yeah.
What are your fears on the other side of that coin then? What are you scared of? What are the things that are kind of, poking at you a little bit? Like,
well, up front is making sure my stuff gets over there, checking in all of these bags and hoping that the airport does not lose them, as I would be very distraught. But Holly and I had discussed that if anything does happen, we will fix it. We'll save up and get what we need back. It's no problem. We'd already talked about that. But I mean, you don't really think about it. And, England and America, we're friendly. We're, descendants of each other, or, one way. But
there you go.
Right. But, there's always, worry of nationalists, who I'm American. I sound American. I'm worried that if I go over there, I'm just going to be ostracized because of being American.
Right.
And I'm not going to say that's like the big fear or anything like that. I don't really think I have thought or had any real big fears about living over there, but just on that's thinking there. About it's like it could happen.
Yeah, it's just something that's there. And I would think you would be remiss if you didn't at least have that in the back of your head. I mean, that's what that helps. Those kind of little bits of spidey sense help you to survive. It's that survival thing. And, what I'm saying is like, fears, it's the start of a new life. There's a lot of excitement around that. Right. But, is there any other parts of that that's like, what?
Parenting. Yeah. Like we had said earlier, Vivi is Holly's first child from her marriage, and her only child. But as you said, I'm extremely sweet and everything to her. And that is something that, it being in the relationship, something I really wanted to try and be like, I want to be the father that was never there for her, because he dipped out pretty much as soon as she was born, So there's a lot of fear on parenting.
Okay.
I know no one knows exactly how to do it.
Yeah.
Fully.
100%. Because
every child is different. Every child has different needs. Every child has different parenting styles that work for them, and at the very end of the day, and something that I've come to realize, and I know you have had this thought before, is that, and you tell me too, is that, you just want the absolute best for them. You want to protect them, but you want them to experience things so that they can become a person who is not afraid of everything and who can just go out and live their best life.
Right.
There's a lot, I'm coming into her life. I came into her life when she was like 3.5 years old. So it was very much that whole baby into toddler stage that was just gone, that I didn't experience, but she's becoming a person, and, it's exciting to see that. And I'm excited, but at the same time, I'm nervous. It's like, I don't want to say anything wrong. I don't want to do anything wrong. 'Cause, it's like, I don't know how to help you. Right. Sorry.
Well, I mean, to give you any fatherly advice is like, yes, you're there when you don't want to do anything wrong, but also sometimes you have to do what is right, even if the child is not going to like it.
Oh,
and you can't parent based on the child's reaction to what you're doing. So, when there are times where you have to correct, or you're like, we can't afford this thing, and you're going to throw a fit, stop throwing a fit. We just don't have the money. Right. Maybe that's something we could save up for something else. Those are the times that break your heart, because, you want to provide every little thing. So don't be so hard on yourself when you have to make those decisions.
Right.
Hopefully at some point they will understand why you were doing these things.
Right.
Hopefully at some point they will understand the love behind it and the motivation behind that thing that they hated that you did.
Right.
So
thankfully, I have Holly, and we've had long into the wee hours of her morning and my night discussions of parenting. And we even we're listening to a parent podcast together just to kind of get, outside, advice and, all this stuff. And it's very, kind of eye opening and perspective of things. So thankfully it's not like I'm going in alone.
Right.
I have someone who's been there for a while who can help me support until I get into my stride of everything. So, but you're absolutely right. Of you parent, and hopefully one day they'll understand why you did the things that you did and accept it.
Yeah, I'm still hoping for that for you for someday. Maybe once you've been parenting, Vivi for a little while, I'll get a random text, but like, yeah,
sorry,
you're right. My B. All right, Jacob, this is the point in the podcast where we like to dive a little bit deeper. This is something that I deal with, the sadness, bad days, depression, anxiety. But we all, as humans, deal with this in some way, shape, form, or fashion. And I think it's a great unifying thing. It itself sucks, but the fact that we all go through it is a unifying thing so that we know that we're not alone. For you, what do you do to stay positive and to keep the dark at bay?
Well, a lot of it comes from, when I was younger, I never really expressed my feelings. And it wasn't against anyone why I did that or for whatever reason. It was a personal thing that I just dealt with, was, dealing with my own feelings. But over time, dealing with the depression I deal with and the sadness and the worry and the anxiety and everything really boiled down to a lot of like mental strengthening, of accepting it's there, but I don't need it to punish me. Yeah, there's still days you lay down and you're just like, I just don't want to get up. For me, one days like that, sometimes I'll be like, okay, I'm going to just nap for another hour or 30 minutes, depending. But after that, I'm going to get up. I'm going to go take a shower, brush my teeth, and, at the very least, see if any of my friends are online and be around people. That way I don't hear it.
Right.
I play video games a lot, so that was a lot of my vice to escape it. I've accepted it's there. I know it's there. I deal with it, but it, when I say I escape it, it's not like I'm running away from it. It's more of like, you're going to continue saying what you're going to say. I'm not really listening. I'm just playing these games and enjoying myself.
Right.
So I don't know. It's really hard to explain when I say that, it's the mental strength that I've gained over dealing with it, and it sounds like, oh, you just dealt with it by yourself. And I did, but I feel like that doesn't work for everyone. Right. There are people who need someone who's there constantly, just checking on, hey, you okay? And that is nice on those really, really dark days. I've had to call out to my friends sometimes on those really, really dark days. But for the regular shadow, it's just walking with my shadow, and that's just what I've gained with dealing with it, is acceptance of it.
So kind of, you take the power away from it by acknowledging that it's there.
Right.
It's like, hey, I see you. I recognize what you're trying to do. I'm not going to let you do that.
Right. And it'll still talk back at you about it. But at that point, it doesn't have any more power. It doesn't hold you anymore because you've seen it.
All right, Jacob, this is the third segment of the show. It's time now for the Fast Five. Fast Five. Fast Five. Fast Five. Fast Five. All right, yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have a theme song for it. I'm still working on it. Got to work with my music guy. We'll see if we can get that thing going for you. But it's Fast Five, powered by Poddex. It's an app created for podcasters where it's conversation starters, interview starters. But it's also great if you ever have to speak in front of your Rotary Club or anything like that. It's great icebreakers that you can use just to bring up in conversation. It's an app created by my friend Travis Brown, and you can get physical decks. They've got the app that we're going to use here, but if you go to chewingfatbr.com to get your pod decks, you get 10% off by using the promo code CHEW. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the randomizer here, and I just need you to give me the first answer off the top of your head for the questions that come up as they do. No wrong answers.
All right.
And we'll go ahead and get going here. If you were a superhero, what would your power be and why?
Spider-Man powers. I've always loved Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. And, I know that's a big bundle of powers, the strength, the speed, the, almost regenerative powers. But, if we were to just say his main power, swinging around spider webs, I would love that. And my reason why is it's very freeing. When you watch his movies or read his comics, he's just freely swinging around. And it seems like he has nowhere he couldn't be. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I love that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Number 2. All right. How many streaming services are you currently subscribed to? How many do you bum off other people?
Okay, all of them. I think
subscribe to 0.
Well,
bum all.
Well, no, I think I'm subscribed to Spotify. If that counts as a streaming service, streaming music.
Yeah. And podcast.
Right. And podcast. And I pay for that myself, but I'm pretty sure with Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, I bum off them with you.
Yeah. As soon as you leave the country, that's cut off, right?
No, wait, please.
Yeah, that's good. All right. Number 3. What brings you joy?
My joy comes from being able to bring joy to others. I know that sounds like something that, or people say you need to bring happiness for yourself. Don't seek happiness in others. But at the core of who I am, I'm happiest when I'm making others happy.
Yeah, you have a very servant heart, as they say. So that makes perfect sense to me. All right, number 4. What could you do all day and not consider it a waste of time?
Video games. Okay. And watching anime.
It's not a waste of time at all. You just do that all day.
I could, and I think I have before. Honestly, I think I had once when I was off work, no one was in the house. I think it was actually also when Holly was on vacation. So I had no one that needed me. I just played video games and watched anime all day.
Very cool. All right. And number 5. I think you're going to have to think about this one.
Oh, God.
What was the last book you read?
The last book I read?
Actual physical book.
Does...
No.
No. Does like not physical paper book, but if I had it on my phone.
Sure.
Okay. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Oh, okay. See, I thought for sure you were going to say a D&D Dungeon Master's Guide or something like that. And I was like, that doesn't really count as a book.
I would say that, but I know that doesn't actually count as a book. There are really great stories in it though. But when it's the idea, when someone says read a book, I consider that cover to cover. And for those, I don't necessarily read cover to cover.
Okay. So Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, huh?
Oh, yeah.
You really like that?
Oh, it's a fantastic series. I have audiobooks for all of the books, except for the one that was written after he died. I don't have the and more or whatever it's called, but his original set, I have an audiobook for him, and I have the Ultimate Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which has all of the books in it. And I only read the first book, which was the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Yeah, it is a hilarious space adventure.
Yeah.
You know, through time and other dimensions as soon as you get to the other books.
Yeah. That's a great book, though. That's a great Douglas Adams. Great one. Awesome, Jacob. That's it. That's the end of the Fast Five. And that is it for the show. Thank you so much for taking a few minutes. This is the day that you're actually leaving out. I don't know when the show is going to actually air, but yeah, this is the day we're packing you up to take you to the airport. So it was important to me to have you here. I'm getting choked up to have you here, in the studio one last time. Because I don't know when you're coming back. I mean, I feel like you will, but we don't know when you're coming back. So thank you so much for taking a few minutes to be here with me in person, so that I could have this. If folks want to follow you on your further adventures, where can they find you on social media?
You can find me at Instagram.com/Jake the Tarbender. You can also find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Jake So Great.
So look for Jake So Great on Twitch and Jake the Tarbender on Instagram. You can also find all of Jake's links in the show notes here. Thank you. It's been the honor of my life to be your dad, buddy.
You're still going to be my dad, even though I'm gone.
I know that, but it's a hard day for me. Leave me alone. Okay. Punch you in the face.
No, wait, don't do that.
Yeah. If you would like to support this podcast, you can buy me a coffee at chewingthefatbr.com. Thank you so much for being here, and I look forward to the next time when we sit a spell and chew the fat.